Hello everybody, my name is Sydney and I'm going to be talking about my literacy autobiography, so let's jump right in. When I think of the beginning of my literacy journey, I think of it initially as this kind of juvenile, pleasure-seeking journey, reading books for fun and for entertainment. Literacy as a youngster being this kind of journey into the imaginary into the imaginative world, and this initial exploration process really capturing the innate value that we as people hold for books and the developmental importances of being literate from a young age. However, that being said, literacy is not always an intuitive process, and it definitely was not for me. I define literacy as a skill set in which we take information in, explore that information in a critical way, and then apply that information in some sort of meaningful application. However, the great thing about pursuing English is that ELA really functions as a great medium in which to foster that skill set, because it encompasses so many great works that are not only factually or historically informative, but incorporate many other complex realities of the human experience, something that we as people are always trying to make more clear. And ELA also helps develop one's writing ability so that one can learn how to disseminate that information to the outside world. I look at my own literacy as this kind of slow and steady journey, and fortunately I had not only a fantastic teacher from my AP Lit class who inspired me to pursue English as a vocation, but professors later in college who continued to bolster that passion. I decided to begin my English career journey, as it will, at Palomar College, later receiving my BA from Berkeley, and then pursuing graduate coursework at Harvard Extension School. And then, of course, finally being here in the teaching credential program at SDSU. Looking back, I would not have selected any other school to go to for my BA. The knowledgeability of the professors and the way they opened up each text and figuratively spilled out the guts each time remain to this day inspiring. They valued imagination. It never made you feel self-conscious of your thought process. The encouragement for sharing and the sense of community is something I really want to be able to take back to my own future classroom. So this next slide focuses on what I imagine as the way literacy developed as one becomes a purveyor of it, if you will, expanding my own literacy into works that were of greater difficulty and diversity, and looking at more complicated themes and rhetorical styles. Although I found my own passion for 17th and 18th century British poetry, it was always my intention to diversify and expand what I chose to read and study. For literacy, we can only be as comprehensive and well-rounded as the literature we choose to look at. I think as a future teacher, it's important to understand and incorporate literature that goes beyond the standard canon. It can be done in small ways in the classroom through examples, additional reading, short stories, and homework assignments, but it can make a class much more interesting and also make it more likely that you will be able to appeal to a class where your audience comes from a multitude of backgrounds. Lastly, becoming a literary detective plays an active role in what it means to be a literate student, especially in the context of our subject, teaching students to investigate the how and why, and being able to articulate that process sets them up for developing critical thinking skills that can be expanded across all fields. I love that English encompasses an almost infinitely inexhaustive milieu of knowledge. That being said, however, English curriculum for so long has been particularly narrow, which actually is keeping students from finding and reading works that they can better identify with. Bringing in more authors who are representative of not only more culturally diverse themes, but also of more diverse genres such as dialectical poetry, magical realism, and all this kind of establishing a more universal literacy for students. I'm currently learning and realizing how constrained and formulaic the curriculum in high school English classes are. Kids today have been reading the same literature that has been in place for the last 50 years, even in just about the same order. We have to critically look at what literature is actually relevant and will be the most interesting for the new generation to be reading. Literature is so diverse that it's impossible to determine which works belong as an institutional standard, and by being literate in a diverse range of genres and modalities, we can be better informed teachers who can skillfully integrate uncanonized works in a way that provide nuance and relevancy to our subject. The great teachers I remember are the ones that redefined what great literature was and showed all the way in which any type of book holds intrinsic value. Thank you for listening and signing off.